Fear Not, Episode 56. Hi, I'm Billy Atwell, and I believe that consistently facing your fears is the only way to realize your truest self and to make those confident choices that will help you to obtain your deepest held hopes and dreams. I have faith that this podcast series will show you that you are not alone, that it will strengthen you and give you courage to face your fears, and that it will help you to permanently cross over into a life of living beyond your fears. Join me on this journey as we listen and learn from others as they share their experiences in facing and overcoming their own fears. Hello, everybody. Today, you and I are going to be joined by Maine Zander. Welcome, Lauren. How are you today?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Maine Zander is the co-founder and chairman of the Handel Group, an international corporate consulting and life coaching company. Her coaching methodology, the Handel Method, is taught around the world, including at MIT and Stanford Graduate School of Business. She has spent nearly 20 years coaching thousands of private and corporate clients, including executives at Vogue, BASF, and AOL. Lauren has been a featured expert in the New York Times, BBC, Forbes, Women's Health, Dr. Oz, and Marie Claire, and she is also a regular contributor to Business Week and the Huffington Post. Her latest book, Maybe It's You, Cut the Crap, Face Your Fears, Love Your Life, just came out this past Tuesday. Lauren, can you take a few moments to fill in the gaps and maybe also give us a brief glimpse of your personal life?
Well, start with my personal life is I have been married for 17 years with my husband for about 21 years. We have 3 children ranging from the age of 14 down to 8, 2 girls and a boy in the middle. Very happily married. I live in Westchester. I make sure I get into New York City about 3 days a week because I love New York and love to work in the city. And pretty much spend the rest of my life painting if I am not coaching. So that's my life. And then we have about 30 different coaches working for us full-time and about 60 employees. And I'm very proud to be the co-founder and chairwoman of this company.
That sounds great, and thank you for sharing all that. Lauren, can we start off today by having you help us understand what fear is?
Well, first of all, I think that is I have been studying fear and what that is and how that conducts much of a human's life, right? So it's not a simple question, and it is something I spend much of my life studying. And I would say I study it as a way to have people stop being stopped by fear. And so when I deal with fear, I am teaching people to deal with how they talk to themselves, their inner dialogue, and how they make choices. Like my joke is you have a PhD in your fears, where everything you're doing and how you think and how you manage your life comes from what if, don't, every form of what I'll call a chicken, so that you don't get hurt, you don't get in trouble, you don't make a mistake, you learn from your mistakes. So fear is a very dominant, controlling experience, feeling, runs a human being beyond, right? And it is, and I'm always trying to put fear up against love, right? What would love have you do? What does love believe? So I'm always engaged in that question.
So as a life coach, what are some of the techniques that you use to help your clients face their fears?
You'd be amazed that people really don't know how they talk to themselves all the time, right? And it sounds tedious, but to face how you talk to yourself is the beginning of facing fear. And so what I do is a roundabout way, so in my book, what I do is I break life out into 12 different areas, and I ask for your dream in each area of your life, and then I ask you to explain why you either have that dream, like the degree to which you think you have that dream in your life, right? And then rate yourself, a scale of 1 to 10, what's between you, you give yourself a 6 in that area, call it your career. This is your dream, that's your dream is your ideal, and then where you currently are, and then how you explain what's between you and that dream, And all of those explanations are riddled with fear, right? Or, I have other things it could be riddled with. But one of them is what I'll call the chicken, the voice of explaining everything to fear or what's not going to work in your life or the theories that you believe that are stopping you from going after what you most want in your life. And so what I have a person do is start to catch their own way of thinking about it, their theories, their logic, everything going on in their head that explains why they don't get what they really want in their life.
I know in your book you talk a lot about accountability. Surely you must get a lot of resistance to that concept. People have a tendency to want to blame it on something else, right?
That's pretty much why they're stuck, right? Like you're stuck. The reason I can't lose weight or get exercise is because I have to take care of my kids, right? It's even something you love, right? But something's getting blamed for why you don't have what you want. And and people hire me to get that obstacle out of the way. So I wouldn't get hired. You wouldn't buy the book, right? You wouldn't be. It's for the person that is looking to get out of their own way, and the person that is happy to stay in their own way is probably not listening to this show right now.
Probably not. Yeah.
It's really not what they're hunting down. How do I kill my fears? Right? Is that sounds frightening and something someone isn't looking for unless they really are.
So how do you coach a client through that period of shifting the blame, back inward, if you will, for lack of, that accountability? Because when I know that I went through that phase too, the books that I was throwing books across the room going, that's not me, it's not my fault, so.
Right.
What do you do? Because that's a big pill to swallow.
So first you have the dream, then you rate your current life against that dream, and you tell the truth, right? Some version of your truth, where you give yourself a 6, right? And so if a 10 would be a great sex life with your partner, and a 6 is we have sex twice a month, and when we do, it's great, but we hardly do, and we're blaming, and see all the list of what you're blaming. Right? And so what I have a person do or learn in the book is that the biggest, like the secret sauce to changing your life is a relationship where you keep a promise to yourself. Right? And we know how to keep promises better to other people than we do to know how to keep a promise to ourselves. Right? And so everything I'm bringing you through in the book is about your ability to learn how to keep a promise to yourself and why you don't. And then how to break through that. The simplest answer is I really do teach people to put a promise, a very specific promise in place, tell people the promise, like, don't keep it to yourself, and then put in a consequence that is also public. And public just means your husband knows, your kid knows, your wife knows, someone at work knows, your sibling knows, someone who's going to go, hey, did you go on that run today? Right? I literally pay my children to keep my promises for me. If I don't exercise, I owe you $5. And that kid is asking me every day if I exercised. Right? So it's actually very easy to get supported. It's hysterical how complicated we make it.
Do you think that, because I know people, there's all different kinds of fear, and some are emotional, and obviously, the ones that are physical that actually put you in physical danger, that's not what we're talking about today. But pretty much all fear has the ability to come under submission or to be overcome by your technique, correct?
Yeah, all of it. The amount of work I've, in the 20 years I've been working with clients, and you go, well, what do you do? You could even say one of the main things I do is conquer fear. Mm-hmm. I help people conquer their fears, right? And it's fear to ask your boss for a job, more money. It's fear to ask, even just in bed with your partner, for what you really want, right? Or even ask how you're doing at it, right? Like the ask your kid. The amount of parents who have never interviewed their kid, like, how am I doing? What do you wish I did differently? Is there anything I'm doing that doesn't make you feel loved? Right? The amount of so there's even fear to ask for the truth. Right? Is there anything you want to know about my life that I've never told you? So to your children, to your parents, to your best friend, to people you even think there are fears of intimacy, right, that will enhance your life if you even just figure out how to ask for things, tell things, and go more, go deeper, right? So the other thing I really care about is people enhancing the quality of their life. Fear is one of the biggest limiters, right? Like I can't ask my parents that. I'm like, you're 48 years old. How can you not ask your parents about that? Right? They're divorced already. You still don't know why they got divorced? You don't know their real story? You only remember the 13-year-old story? Like, how come that doesn't matter to you while you're in the middle of, getting a divorce yourself? How do you not understand relationships from the perspective of knowing your parents? Right? So that is all fear-based. Like, I can't ask. It's rude. They'll be hurt. The amount of excuses we make that we wipe on other people to pretend we're nice and polite, but it really is fear, and then it really is a lack of intimacy, is amazing.
It's almost like you're suggesting sort of an offensive method. As opposed to being defensive, it's like just really kind of going for it and being aggressive. Take that action, because it's that personal responsibility.
I think everything is something to go get, right? And I teach. Growing up, I was a soccer player, and I played center half, and from time to time I played center forward. And the amount of and I literally can listen to a person talk about their life and figure out where they relate to themselves on the court of their life. Like, are you always on defense? Are you center half, like you have to run around everything and do everything for everyone, and maybe you're getting ahead? Or are you all about the goal you're trying to make and taking care of the whole team? It doesn't mean there isn't a defense and everything else, right? So there really is a way to balance that out for wherever you are in your life. And the amount people are on defense rather than offense for getting what they want in their life is another thing everyone should just go, where are you playing? Are you on defense or are you on offense? Because the only way you're really going to get what you want is going to be on offense. Okay, maybe if you're protecting your money, you should be on defense. Okay? Like, oh, yeah, I manage the bank, right? I'm keeping my money safe. I only take this much risk, right? That could be good, right? Right, but most places deserve offense.
Could you possibly share with us an example from your own life of maybe something that you're personally dealing with, a fear, and what you're doing about it?
So I think, my line that I've always used throughout my whole life is happiness, real happiness and pride, like proud of something, it lives on the other side of fear. Like, if I'm not breaking through a fear of mine, I'm not as happy as I could be. Right? So I really believe in killing fear and chasing fear and getting to the other side. So my latest, what that really means is I have hundreds of stories. No kidding. And but my latest story, which is really was a big deal for me, is I recently had the choice of doing classes where I had to be able to do hours and hours to the camera of teaching my courses, right? And I can't think of anything more important than wanting to get what I've developed out in the world, right? But guess what? I am not good at that, right? A teleprompter has two problems for me. One is I have to be able to read out loud, right? And it is not my favorite thing to do, let alone I'm not good at it at all, right? Like, I'm embarrassed to read out loud fully, like stand up and read out loud. My reading's not great in my little head of a child from my childhood, right, is a fear of mine. And then to top it off, I actually, no kidding, get a little car sick. So there was nothing funnier than my dream was on the other side of learning how to be great at a teleprompter. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to do it like a 4-hour course, right? And keep my energy up, stay happy, right? And play and not look like I got car sick all the way through, right? And so basically I had no choice if I wanted to like I got this option to do something important, and if I wanted to do it, I had to, kill all my fears. And so basically, it was a mess and a half. I got a coach. I worked on it. I practiced it. And trust me, I am a jerk about keeping promises that I don't want to do and that are fearful for me. And so I had to make a whole plan. Everyone knew about it. And that literally, I spent 3 months working through that issue, that fear of mine. It turned out great. And then, of course, as all things, if you go to kick fear's butt, you will win. You will win. Right. So it's a very different attitude. Like, I recommend that you be in love with conquering fear, because that's where you were succeeding at your life. Right. It's chasing down fear and getting to the other side of it that's inspiring. So whatever it is, even if it's physical, even if it's getting on a plane, right, there really is, when are you ready to conquer something? And that's what's inspiring about a human, is they can conquer things.
Why don't you think that more people do this? Because, the information's not necessarily new, about fear and in regards to, like, getting to the other side to reach your dreams and your goals. And it just seems like we're living in a world that's just a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety. So I'm just curious as to why you think that is.
If you read the Maine Criminal the Maine Criminal that goes perfectly in bed with fear is the ability to lie. Right? Oh, I'm fine. No problem. Oh, we'll be great. Oh, I'll be okay about that. Like the tolerance for unhappiness, and then an ability to lie about your unhappiness, and then lie to yourself, and then use your vices, right, creates a truly vicious cycle in the head between actions, your outer world, your inner world, right? And you end up pent up and not believing in yourself, and a liar, and you have all the people around you that are bought in to the pretense that you created for yourself in a variety of ways. And so you end up in your own trap, whatever the trap is. So you don't believe in yourself, but you've been lying for years. Right? You never conquered certain things. We lie to ourselves. Oh, I won't be able to do, the amount. Now, don't anybody kill me. Don't anybody hurt me. But the amount I help people who go, I have ADD, that then therefore don't have to clean their office, don't have to, like, the amount ADD has gotten people away with murder. I believe you have ADD, but what does that have to do with cleaning your office? Right? What does that have to do with exercising? What does that have to do with being able to figure out how to organize your schedule? Right? So the amount that people get locked up in their excuses and the way they lie to themselves about what's possible kills their own ability to have their dreams. Right? If you have dreams, you have to do them. If you believe in your excuses, you don't, and you can blame the world. So we end up sad and pathetic with a cocktail instead of ambitious and celebrating, but fighting fear. I think it's just straight up the human condition. 7 deadly sins. We're like right there.
So how can your book help us to counter that?
The process. So I think the most important thing is to love yourself, and that includes everything about yourself, your dark and your light. And I don't think we're very comfortable getting to know ourselves at the deepest level that is needed to conquer our fears. And so what happens in the book is there's at least 4 people that are their real answers, and you're going through it with them, along with being able to have the exercises that you need to do to really go deep on yourself, go deep into your history, go deep into your heritage, and really start to understand a type of love of yourself that you just probably don't have. And then it helps go after fear in a whole different way, right? Because the deeper you get about loving yourself and your commitment to a great life and your children, the more you're going to do the work. And the work has to make sense, not just, get a rubber band and, flick it every time you think something mean, right? Not that that won't work, but you have to really be deeply connected to yourself so that will work. So that's what this book is going deep on you about yourself and your life and how much you're worth it.
Lauren, if someone would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
So I am Lauren at the HandelGroup.com, right? So I have, you can reach out to the company, the Handel Group, And the book is Maybe It's You. And it's, you can find it very easily on Amazon or in the bookstores in Barnes & Noble. Yay! And you can reach me through the Handel Group website.
I want to also let everyone know, too, that Lauren has donated a copy of the Maybe It's You book that we'll be giving away. So if you'd like an opportunity to win that, go ahead and go to the giveaways page at livingbeyondyourfears.com to submit your free entry form today. Lauren, what parting advice would you like to leave with us today?
It's Groundhog. I love the concept Groundhog Day, and that every day is another day for you to kick fear's butt, right? Like to do something about it right now. It just any time counts is really my parting words. It's never too late, ever.
That's great advice and a great movie to to be inspired by. Lauren, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today and being so generous with your time and your knowledge, and of course of donating a copy of your book to one of our listeners. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing what you're doing. Come on. It takes a village.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you cannot achieve everything, but you do have the God-given ability to achieve anything. So stay focused, out of fear, and keep on keeping on. Until next time, be well and peaceful. For more information on today's episode and guest, or for resources that will assist you in overcoming your fears, visit livingbeyondyourfears.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, where 3 times a week we move to a life beyond our fears.